Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shruti Mishra. Here are the headlines we're tracking this evening. Sensex and Nifty end flat after a range-bound session. Mid-caps outperform. Rupee weakens to a new low against the US dollar. RBI's three-day Monetary Policy Committee meeting starts today. This will be Governor Shaktikanta Das's last unless he gets an extension. CNBC TV18 Citizen Monetary Policy Committee expects the RBI to cut the cash reserve ratio but sees no change in the repo rate due to the inflation picture. RBI will announce its policy decision on Friday.
We have to be very cautious that we do not in the process as they say, kill the golden goose.
Union Revenue Secretary Sanjay Malhotra cautions tax enforcement authorities against what he calls high-pitched demand notices, says tax authorities should not hurt the economy to garner revenue. Vodafone PLC exits Indus Towers after selling the remaining 3% stake. The proceeds will be used by Vodafone Idea to pay the dues to Indus Towers. Israel continues its attack on Gaza. At least 3 medical personnel injured in an attack on a hospital in northern Gaza. At least 12 people killed in an attack on southern Lebanon. South Korea's opposition lawmakers submit a bill to impeach President Yoon over his short-lived declaration of martial law. The South Korean president declared martial law yesterday after accusing the opposition of sympathizing with North Korea, only to reverse it 6 hours later in the face of a united opposition. Amazon Web Services launches a new slate of artificial intelligence models under the brand name Nova, shows off its new text, image and video generators to compete with rivals Microsoft and Google. Devendra Fadnavis takes claim to form the next government in Maharashtra, flanked by Eknath Shinde and Ajit Pawar. Fadnavis will take oath as the chief minister for the third time tomorrow after a week of suspense and hectic parleys between alliance partners. Lok Sabha opposition leader Rahul Gandhi and MP Priyanka Gandhi returned to Delhi after their convoy was stopped by the police at the Ghazipur border ahead of their planned visit to violence-hit Sambhal. Opposition MPs stage a walkout in the Lok Sabha. Former Deputy Chief Minister of Punjab Sukhbir Badal escapes unhurt after an assassination attempt. An alleged former militant attempts to fire gunshots at Badal while he was sitting on guard duty as a part of his religious sentence outside the Golden Temple in Amritsar. First up, the day's market action. Dalal Street gained for the fourth straight day to register its longest gaining streak in 2 months. Sensex and Nifty ended marginally in the green. Broader markets outperformed the blue chips. In the money market, the Indian rupee remains under pressure against the US dollar as it hit another record low. The rupee is inching closer to the 85 mark against the greenback. The 3-day meeting of the RBI Monetary Policy Committee kicked off today. Governor Shaktikanta Das has 6 days left in his tenure, which ends on the 10th of December. The government has yet to decide on extending his tenure or appointing a new head of the central bank. Markets are not expecting RBI to cut rates just yet, even as GDP growth slowed to a 21-month low in the second quarter.
I think expectation would be before March. Definitely rate cut is going to come in. I'm not sure about this month, but definitely in Feb, I think it is expected. There could be certain liquidity easing measures which could be taken probably in this MPC, but definitely next MPC rate cut is going to come in.
The big story this evening, Revenue Secretary Sanjay Malhotra has urged Customs Enforcement Department to exercise caution while sending out demand notices to businesses. Speaking at an event commemorating the 67th Foundation Day of the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence, Malhotra urged officers to focus not just on revenue generation, but broader economic well-being as well. He cautioned against what he called high-pitched demand notices and asked tax officers not to kill the golden goose for some revenue.
Customs duties today also does occupy a significant proportion of our revenue. We have to be very careful when we are taking action against some of the traders, especially related. When I say this, I'm meaning to say the technical nature of some of the tax avoidances and tax evasion that we may witness, which will involve typically maybe a classification dispute or an interpretation of an issue leading to a very, very high pitched kind of a demand notice, which is not related only to one particular industry, but it is not only a particular entity, but which is pervasive across industries. CBIC has therefore very rightly come out, with a circular instructing and advising all its field formations to first check with the board, with the policy wing of the board, to see as to what the intent really is and whether this actually amounts to a tax evasion or it is only a technical infringement. We are here not only, for revenue, we are here also for the whole economy of the country. And so if in the process of garnering some small revenue, we are hurting the whole industry and the economy of the country, that is certainly not the intent. Revenue comes in only, if there is some income. And so we have to be very cautious that we do not in the process, as they say, kill the golden goose.
All right, moving on. Government think tank Niti Aayog feels that the Indian economy stands to gain more from imports as they boost competition. Speaking at a briefing today, Vice Chairman Suman Berry warned against discouraging imports to the extent of encouraging local monopolies. Berry's comments come on the backdrop of several industry sectors calling for higher tariffs on Chinese imports.
The economy, frankly, gains more from its imports than it gains from the exports, because imports are what provide competition. We have to walk a very careful line about not closing off imports to the point where we're cultivating local monopolies. And so I think that trade is not only about exports, it's about imports as well. And I hope that in future issues we will also be looking at the policies that drive as it were, the direction of our imports, and not really think, because there's a theorem in economics, which is a tax on imports is a tax on exports. I think we're entering a different area with CBAM, the border adjustment mechanism of the Europeans, and President Trump citing the security sort of exemptions of, I think it's of the WTO, it may be of the US Trade Act, where many of these disciplines are being replaced by outright what economists call mercantilism. I would hope we would not go down there because of the impact on our consumers and because of the impact on our competitiveness.
Adani Group company Ambuja Cement is in talks to acquire Star Cement as a part of its expansion plans. According to a Money Control report, the group has appointed consultancy firm EY to evaluate the deal. Now, Star Cement has said that the company is not engaged in any discussions in this regard. Adani Cement has not responded to requests for comment. Now, remember, Star Cement is the largest manufacturer with the highest market share in the Northeast. Moving on, PB Fintech shares hit a 52-week high after the company approved the incorporation of a wholly owned subsidiary under the proposed names of PB Healthcare or PB Healthcare Services. The proposed subsidiary will focus on healthcare services and will be incorporated in India with an authorized share capital of 5 lakh rupees. The company has clarified that the new entity will become a related party upon incorporation. Suzlon Energy gained over 2% after a big order win. The firm said that it has had secured a 302-megawatt wind project in Karnataka from JSP Green, a subsidiary of Jindal Renewables. The energy generated through this will be utilized as captive consumption in steel plants located in Chhattisgarh and Odisha. Earlier last month, Suzlon had secured a 400-megawatt captive wind power project with Jindal Renewables. Also, shares of food aggregator Swiggy surged in trade after its losses narrowed by 5% to 625 crore rupees. Its overall revenue grew by close to 40%, bolstered by growth in the quick commerce business. Instamart, Swiggy's quick commerce business grew by 135% compared to the second quarter of the last fiscal. Speaking to CNBC TV18 about Amazon's entry into the quick commerce space, Swiggy's MD and CEO Sriharsha Majety said that he feels good about the company's chances given its track record against larger companies in the food delivery space. He added that the company, which serves customers better in the coming quarters, will have the edge.
We are no strangers to competition. If you've tracked our overall company, we were born as like the 8th company in food delivery. When we came up, like there was heightened competition even from Amazon in food delivery for a few years in between. So we feel very good about our chances. Ultimately, I think we have a lot of respect for Amazon, but at the same time, the quick commerce business and the needs are different and are emerging. They're not even clear. So I think it'll come down to which companies understand consumer needs better and serve them over the next few quarters.
All right. Vodafone PLC has exited Indus Towers after selling its remaining 3% stake. Now, the stake will be sold via an accelerated book build offering. The UK-based telecom multinational company said that the funds would be used to repay approximately $101 million in outstanding borrowings secured against its Indian assets. Subsequently, Vodafone plans to use the residual proceeds to participate in a proposed equity issuance by Vodafone Idea to pay dues to Indus. Moving on to the big political story, Devendra Fadnavis is all set to become the next Chief Minister of Maharashtra. The swearing-in ceremony will take place tomorrow evening in Mumbai's Azad Maidan. The BJP's legislative party chose Devendra Fadnavis as their leader, paving the way for him to become the Chief Minister for the third term. His second term as the Chief Minister had lasted less than 48 hours. Fadnavis, flanked by Eknath Shinde and Ajit Pawar, met Maharashtra Governor C.P. Radhakrishnan to stake claim to form the next government. Now, this comes after a week of suspense and hectic parleys between the alliance partners. Fadnavis thanked Ajit Pawar for accepting the offer to become the Deputy Chief Minister. However, Eknath Shinde is keeping the suspense going. There is still no clarity if he will be part of the new government.
कल मैं स्वयं माननीय हमारे मुख्यमंत्री एकनाथ शिंदे जी के पास गया था और एकनाथ राव जी को मैंने ये निवेदन किया था कि हम सभी की इच्छा है कि इस सरकार में वे स्वयं हमारे साथ रहे। शिवसेना के भी विधायकों की इच्छा है और महायुति के भी विधायकों की इच्छा है और मुझे पूर्ण विश्वास है कि वो हमारे साथ रहेंगे।
Leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, and Member of Parliament Priyanka Gandhi were stopped by the UP police at the Ghazipur border as they tried to visit violence-hit Sambhal. Rahul Gandhi said he was willing to travel alone to Sambhal, but the police denied permission. Opposition MPs staged a walkout in Parliament in protest against Gandhi being denied permission to travel to Sambhal. 4 people died in Sambhal last week after clashes erupted during a court-ordered survey of a Mughal-era mosque.
मेरा अधिकार बनता है कि मैं जा सकता हूं, मगर तब भी वो मुझे रोक रहे हैं। मैंने कहा है कि मैं अकेला जाने को तैयार हूं, पुलिस के साथ जाने को तैयार हूं, मगर उन्होंने वो भी बात एक्सेप्ट नहीं की और अब कह रहे हैं कि कुछ दिनों में अगर हम वापस आएंगे तो फिर वो हमें जाने देंगे। ये एक्चुअली जो LOP के अधिकार हैं उसके खिलाफ है, मुझे अलाउ करना चाहिए। ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के खिलाफ है। हम सिर्फ संभल जाना चाहते हैं, देखना चाहते हैं वहाँ क्या हुआ, लोगों से मिलना चाहते हैं।
Telangana's Mulugu district was struck by a 5.3 magnitude earthquake early this morning. Tremors were also reported in Hyderabad and some parts of Maharashtra. According to the region's district collector, the earthquake lasted for 6 to 8 seconds. There were no reports of loss of life or damage to property. India Meteorological Department has predicted that India will have a warmer winter session from December 2024 to February 2025. The Weather Office has said that the number of cold wave days during this period could drop to 2 to 4 days from the 5 to 6 cold wave days witnessed in a typical year. The forecast comes after India experienced the second warmest November in over 120 years. The warmer weather in November was a result of the lack of western disturbances. Former Deputy Chief Minister of Punjab, Sukhbir Badal, has escaped unhurt after an assassination attempt. An alleged former militant attempted to fire gunshots at Badal while he was sitting on guard duty as a part of his religious sentence outside the Golden Temple in Amritsar. The shooter, as Narayan Singh Chora, was overpowered by Badal supporters and handed over to the police.
पंजाब ਨੂੰ ਬਦਨਾਮ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੀਆਂ ਸਾਜ਼ਿਸ਼ਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ मैं सुखबीर बादल जी ते होए हमले दी सख्त निंदा करदा ਇਹਦੀ ਨਿਰਪੱਖ ਜਾਂਚ ਹੋਊਗੀ सख्ताई ਨਾਲ ਜਾਂਚ ਹੋਊਗੀ और जो भी दोषी होया सख्त सजा मिलेगी।
International news. More pressure on President Yoon Suk Yeol of South Korea to resign after he backed away from his surprise declaration of martial law within hours. The move, according to President Yoon, was made to counter an opposition that was trying to overthrow the free democracy. A coalition of lawmakers from South Korea's opposition parties have put forward a bill to impeach the president. US President-elect Donald Trump is considering dropping his nominee to lead the Pentagon, Pete Hegseth. Trump is now looking to nominate Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in his place. Hegseth's nomination has run into trouble at Capitol Hill over allegations of sexual assault, among other things. According to a report by Wall Street Journal, Trump's allies think that Hegseth may not survive further scrutiny. A combat veteran and a former Fox News host, Hegseth would need the support of Senate Republicans to win confirmation to the post. Well, on that note, it's time for us to take a short break. But coming up, Amazon Web Services launches a new slate of artificial intelligence models under the brand name Nova. More on that when we return. Welcome back. You're watching Business 360. Microsoft faces a $1.27 billion lawsuit in the UK after it was accused of unfairly overcharging customers of rival cloud companies. Now, the lawsuit alleges that customers using AWS, Google's cloud platform, or Alibaba Cloud are forced to pay more to license Microsoft Windows Server software on rivals' infrastructure. The lawsuit added that Microsoft was leveraging its dominant market position in cloud-based server operating systems by extracting higher prices and inducing customers into moving into Azure. Moving on, Amazon Web Services has launched a new slate of artificial intelligence models under the brand name Nova. The tech giant launched its new text, image and video generators at the annual flagship event. Ashmit Kupar reports from Las Vegas.
Well, we're coming to you from Las Vegas, United States. We're coming to you from Amazon's AWS's flagship event called reInvent 2024. And were we in for a big surprise? We'll come to that in just a bit. Now, Matt Garman, the CEO of AWS, took over the reins in March of 2024, arrived at reInvent, arrived in Las Vegas with a big challenge on his hands. The challenge being reassuring the markets, reassuring the industry watchers that Amazon is on par, if not better than its competitors, the likes of Google and Microsoft. And to deliver that message, there was a surprise guest in the form of Amazon CEO Andy Jassy. And Andy Jassy did not disappoint. He unveiled a new family of Nova family of Gen AI models. These family of Gen AI models can do everything from generating text responses to generating images to generating videos. And this, importantly, Andy Jassy says, is performing even better than its competitors, the likes of Google's Gemini, the likes of Microsoft's ChatGPT. That's not all. Matt Garman also, as a part of his keynote address, made a whole host of announcements with respect to virtual servers powered by NVIDIA GPUs, with respect to servers, virtual servers powered by their own chips, about various tools that are embedded within the AWS ecosystem, all geared towards Gen AI. And this, Amazon believes, this AWS believes, will give it the edge with respect to its competitors. One key caveat, however, all these tools, all these Gen AI tools and Gen AI models are not publicly available, but they are available only on the AWS cloud ecosystem, and that is what Amazon is betting on. That's what AWS is betting on, is will give it the edge, will give its customers the edge in terms of building the next generation of Gen AI applications.
All right. Thank you, Ashmit, for those details. Moving on, Pushpa 2, the sequel to the Allu Arjun starrer super hit 2021 movie, is all set for a blockbuster opening at the box office. Trade analysts expect the film to rake in over 200 crores on the first day itself. Shilpa Ranipeta joins us. Shilpa, like that famous dialogue from the first part, Pushpa 2 is already on fire.
Well, you know, as the popular dialogue from the movie goes, "Main jhukega nahi," that seems to be the trend for the release of Pushpa 2. Now, this Allu Arjun, Fahad Fasil and Rashmika Mandanna starrer is expected to break all records, possibly even that of Bahubali. It has already become the fastest movie to surpass 2 million tickets on Book My Show. Like you said, PVR Inox is already close to selling 6 lakh tickets. And the craze is such that people are shelling out as much as 1,800 rupees per ticket to watch the movie. Now, tomorrow, once it's released, Elara Securities expects that the gross box office collection is likely to cross 1,000 crore worldwide, with the Hindi version bringing in about half of it. Now, remember, the last two biggest films in India were Bahubali and KGF Chapter 2, which saw gross collections of about 1,200 crore and 1,000 crore each. Now, on the day of the release, tomorrow, it is expected to bring in about 200 crores, and Pushpa 2 alone is expected to push up the theatre occupancy to more than 40% in December, as against an otherwise average that we see of about 25%. Now, this is a huge positive for movie exhibitors like PVR Inox, which have suffered from a poor content pipeline in Q2 and even in October. Now, while things started picking up in November with Singham Returns and Bhool Bhulaiya 3, December could be the month of recovery. Apart from Pushpa 2, there's also Baby John and Sitare Zameen Par that are releasing in the month, and overall theatre occupancy may reach the 30% levels for the third quarter on the back of this. And the Hindi gross collections also is likely to be at about 1,700 crore rupees for the industry. Now, Elara expects that PVR Inox is likely to clock about 800 crores in gross box office collections in Q3 FY25. So, will Pushpa 2 be the fire, or as the term for this movie, this version of the movie, wildfire for the showbiz? That we'll know tomorrow, if you know what I mean, based on the dialogues of the movie.
Absolutely, Shilpa. And on that fiery note, it's time for us to wrap this edition of Business 360. More news and updates continue right here on CNBC TV 18.